When my daughter told me she'd emptied our family trust fund of millions, I collapsed right there in my kitchen. Days later, I was sitting across from her in a five-star Parisian hotel she'd paid for with my money, watching her laugh about it. That's when I realized motherhood was the longest con of all. You raise them, love them, and then they get you like a fish on a silver platter. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling me if you've ever been betrayed by family. Because trust me, this story has more twists than a tornado in a corkscrew factory. I never thought I'd be telling a story like this. Not about Veronica. My only child.
My everything.
That morning started like any other Tuesday. I was in my bathrobe, sipping coffee, planning my week. The financial advisor's name flashed on my phone, and I answered with a smile. Harold never called unless it was important. Cecilia, he said, his voice tight. I need you to sit down. Something in his tone made my stomach drop. What is it, Harold? I've been reviewing the quarterly statements for the family trust. There are irregularities. I laughed nervously. What kind of irregularities? Large withdrawals. Very large. Nearly all of it, actually. My coffee mug slipped from my fingers, shattering on the marble floor. That's impossible. I haven't touched that account in months. It wasn't you, Cecilia. The withdrawals were authorized by Veronica. She had power of attorney. The room started spinning. The trust held everything. The life insurance from when Robert died, the proceeds from selling our company, our retirement. Almost $12 million. There must be a mistake, I whispered. I wish there was. The transfer started small, about 6 months ago. Then larger amounts. The final withdrawal was 3 days ago. She cleaned out what was left. I couldn't breathe. Veronica was 29, successful in her own right. She ran her own PR firm. We had dinner every Sunday. Just last week, she'd helped me plan my upcoming charity gala. Have you called her? I asked. I tried. Her assistant said she's on vacation. In Paris. Script part separator equals. I needed to see it for myself. I hung up on Harold and logged into the trust account. The balance stared back at me. $324.19. Just months ago, it had been $11. $7 million. My hands shook as I opened Instagram. Veronica's latest post, uploaded 2 hours earlier, showed her on a balcony with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Living my best life. Hashtag Paris, hashtag no regrets. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted, call me now. Emergency. No response. I called her best friend, Tiffany. Mrs. Hartman.
How are you?
Where is my daughter? A pause. I think she's traveling? Cut the act, Tiffany. This is serious. Her voice dropped. She's at the Georges V. But please don't tell her I told you. I hung up and booked the next flight to Paris. 16 hours later, I stood in the lobby of one of the most expensive hotels in the world. My daughter was upstairs, living in luxury with my money. Money that represented my whole life's work with Robert. I'm here to see Veronica Hartman, I told the concierge. He smiled politely. Your name, madam? Cecilia Hartman. Her mother. His smile faltered. One moment. 5 minutes later, I was knocking on suite 714. Veronica opened the door in a silk robe, champagne glass in hand. Her eyes widened. Mom, what are you doing here? I pushed past her into the suite. It was larger than my first apartment. Clothes were strewn everywhere. Shopping bags from Chanel, Dior, and Louis Vuitton covered the sofa. Care to explain why our family trust is empty? I asked, my voice shaking. She took a sip of champagne. I figured you'd find out eventually. That's it? That's all you have to say? She shrugged. It's not like you needed it anyway. Your house is paid off. You have your own savings. It wasn't just my money. It was your father's life insurance. Our retirement. Money for your future children. She laughed then. Actually laughed. Mom, you've controlled everything my entire life. What to wear, who to date, where to go to school. Even my company, you pulled strings to get me clients. Well, guess what? I'm done living in your shadow. I felt like I'd been slapped. So this is revenge? This is freedom. She refilled her glass. Besides, the trust was half mine anyway. To inherit, not to steal.
She smirked.
Is it really stealing when my name was on the account? I looked at my daughter, my beautiful, accomplished daughter, and saw a stranger. Script part separator equals. You've become a thief, I said, my voice barely audible. She rolled her eyes. So dramatic. Legally, I had access. Dad would have wanted me to enjoy life. The mention of Robert ignited something in me. How dare you use your father to justify this? He worked himself to death to build that fortune. And now I'm enjoying it, she said, sipping her champagne. What's done is done, Mom. You need to return the money. All of it.
Now.
She laughed again, harder this time. That's not happening. I've already spent nearly $2 million. On what? In 6 months? She gestured around the suite. Living well isn't cheap. Plus, I've made some investments. What investments? None of your business. My company, mostly. I sank onto the edge of a chair, dizzy with betrayal. All those Sunday dinners. All those conversations about her work, her life. Had she been planning this the whole time? You'll go to jail for this, I said. Her face hardened. No, I won't. I had legal access. And if you try anything, I'll tell everyone how you've been stealing from Dad's former partners for years. What are you talking about? She smiled coldly. I know about the accounting tricks, Mom. How you and Dad diverted profits before the company sale. How you cheated Uncle Philip out of his share. That's a lie.
Is it?
She raised an eyebrow. I have documents that suggest otherwise. My blood ran cold. Robert and I had done nothing wrong. We'd bought Philip out fair and square before the company took off. He'd signed the paperwork himself. You're bluffing, I said. Try me. She walked to the balcony and gazed out at Paris.
Go home, Mom.
Enjoy your comfortable life. I'm building my own empire now. I left the hotel in a daze. On the flight back to New York, all I could think was, who is this person? What happened to my daughter? 3 days later, I was still shell-shocked when my phone pinged with a text from Harold. Check Veronica's Instagram. Script part separator equals. I opened the app to find a photo of Veronica on a yacht, arms around a man I'd never seen before. The caption read, when Mom says you stole her money, but really you're just living your best life with your new fiancé. Hashtag, sorry not sorry. Fiancé?
My heart hammered in my chest.
Veronica had never mentioned a relationship, let alone an engagement. The comment section was filled with congratulations and questions. Wait, you stole from your mom? LOL savage. Spill the tea. V. What's this about money? Your mom must be furious. And Veronica was responding. My mom thinks everything belongs to her. Time to cut the apron strings. Living my truth now. She controlled me long enough. Don't worry, she's got plenty. Just mad. She can't control me anymore. She was making me out to be some kind of monster. And people were eating it up. I scrolled through her profile. The past week was a parade of extravagance, designer shopping sprees, helicopter tours, yacht parties. All with this mystery man. I clicked on his profile. Sebastian Reeves, 34, self-described entrepreneur and investor. His feed was all luxury cars, private jets, and motivational quotes about wealth. Harold called while I was still stalking Sebastian's profile.
I've spoken to our attorney, he said.
We have options, but it's complicated because she had legal access. She's engaged, I said numbly. Did you know that? No, but it explains the timing. Cecilia, there's something else. I've been digging into the withdrawals. Some of the money went to a shell company called Vertex Solutions.
So?
Vertex Solutions is owned by Philip Ward. My stomach dropped. Robert's old partner? The one she mentioned?
Yes.
They've been in contact. Regularly. Philip had been bitter about selling his shares before the company took off. He tried to sue us twice, claiming we'd misled him about the company's value. Both cases were dismissed. Are you saying Philip and Veronica are working together? I asked. I'm saying $3 million of your money ended up in his company's account. The doorbell rang, interrupting us. When I opened it, a courier handed me an envelope. Harold, I need to call you back. Inside was a letter from Philip Ward's attorney. He was suing me for $25 million, claiming fraud and deceptive business practices in the sale of his shares 15 years ago. The letter mentioned new evidence that had recently come to light. I sank to the floor, the letter clutched in my hand. My daughter hadn't just stolen from me. She was helping destroy me. Script part separator ===. The lawsuit wasn't just about money. It was about legacy, about what Robert and I had built together, about truth. I called my old friend Diana, who'd been our company's legal counsel before retirement. Philip's case was dismissed twice. She reminded me over coffee in her Manhattan apartment. But if he has new evidence Veronica fabricated, I snapped. Diana's eyes narrowed. Are you sure about that?
Of course I am.
Robert and I never cheated Philip. Then where did Veronica get the idea? She was just a teenager when this happened. The question hit me like a truck. Where indeed? Unless someone's feeding her information, I said slowly.
Someone who was there.
Diana nodded. Someone who benefits from you losing everything. I spent the next day combing through old company files I'd kept in storage. Contracts, emails, meeting minutes. Nothing seemed unusual until I found a folder labeled Buyout Final. Inside was the agreement Philip had signed, but something caught my eye. The signature page had a different paper quality than the rest of the document. Slightly whiter, newer. I called Harold immediately. I need a forensic document examiner. 3 days later, I had my answer. The signature page was authentic, but it had been attached to a different contract than the one Philip had actually signed. Someone had pulled a switch. But who? I asked Diana as we reviewed the examiner's findings. And when? She frowned. Who handled the final paperwork? Our attorney, Martin Reeves. Reeves? Diana's eyes widened. Sebastian Reeves. Veronica's fiancé. My blood ran cold. His son? She nodded. Martin always talked about his boy. Said he was grooming him to take over the practice someday. I pulled up Sebastian's Instagram. His latest post showed him and Veronica at dinner with an older man I recognized instantly. Martin Reeves, our former attorney, now in his 70s. The caption read, "Family dinner with my two favorite people. Dad's finally seeing the plan come together. #revenge, #justice served." It wasn't just about the money. It was about revenge. Martin Reeves had switched the documents, creating a time bomb he could detonate whenever he wanted. Now, 15 years later, he was using my own daughter to destroy me. Script part separator ===. I flew to Paris the next morning. No warning, no calls. Straight to the Georges V, where the concierge informed me Veronica and Sebastian had checked out. They've moved to the Ritz, madam, he added helpfully. At the Ritz, I didn't bother with the front desk. I spotted them immediately in the garden restaurant, laughing over mimosas with Martin Reeves. What a lovely family reunion, I said, pulling out a chair. Veronica nearly choked on her drink. Sebastian's face hardened. Martin merely smiled. Cecilia. How unexpected. I know everything, I said, looking directly at Martin. About the switched contracts. About how you've manipulated my daughter. Martin chuckled. Manipulated?
Hardly.
I simply showed her the truth about her parents. You showed her lies. Mom, Veronica hissed. You're making a scene. I turned to her. He's using you, Veronica. Can't you see that? They've been planning this for years. Sebastian reached for her hand. We've been planning our future. A future your mother tried to deny me.
What are you talking about?
Martin leaned forward. You and Robert destroyed my reputation. After the company's sale, word got around that I'd handled questionable paperwork. No one would hire me for major corporate work again. Because you committed fraud. I made an error, he snarled. One that cost me everything. My practice dwindled to nothing. My wife left me. Meanwhile, you and Robert lived like royalty. So this is about revenge. This is about justice, Sebastian said. My father lost everything because of you. I turned to Veronica. And what's your excuse? I gave you everything. You controlled everything, she corrected. Sebastian showed me what real freedom feels like. I laughed bitterly. Freedom?
He's using you to get to me.
Just like his father used you. A flicker of doubt crossed her face. That's not true. We love each other. I pulled out my phone and showed her the document examiner's report. They switched the contracts, Veronica. They committed fraud, not me. And now they're using you to finish what they started. Script part separator equals. Sebastian snatched the phone from my hand. This proves nothing. Just another trick from a woman who can't stand losing control. Losing control? I stood up, hands shaking. You stole millions from me, sided with people who want to destroy everything your father built, and you dare talk about control? Mrs. Hartman, Martin said calmly, perhaps we can discuss this privately. Nothing about this is private anymore. I turned to the surrounding tables where other diners were now openly watching. My daughter emptied our family trust fund to finance a revenge plot against me.
Mom.
Veronica hissed.
Stop it. Why?
Aren't you proud of what you've done? You've been bragging about it online. A waiter approached. Is everything all right here? No, I said firmly. Everything is not all right. Martin stood. We're leaving.
Come, Sebastian, Veronica.
As they rose to go, I played my final card. The police are waiting to speak with you, Martin. He froze.
What?
I filed a report this morning. Fraud has no statute of limitations in New York. And wire fraud across international borders? That's federal. Sebastian grabbed Veronica's arm. We need to go.
Now.
I saw it then. The flicker of fear in Veronica's eyes. Not of me, but of him. Veronica, I said softly. Whatever they've told you about me, about your father, it's not true. Don't listen to her, Sebastian hissed. But I could see the doubt growing. Why the rush, Sebastian? If you've done nothing wrong? Martin grabbed his son's shoulder. We're leaving. All of us. Veronica pulled away from Sebastian. I need a minute. Script part separator equals. We don't have time for this, Sebastian snapped, reaching for her again. I slapped his hand away. Don't touch my daughter. Security approached, summoned by the maitre d'. Is there a problem? Yes, I said. These men are wanted for questioning by American authorities for fraud and theft. Martin's face turned ashen. That's a lie. The security guard looked uncertain. Perhaps we should continue this discussion in private. As we were escorted to a side room, Veronica whispered, What have you done, Mom? What have I done? I fought back tears. I'm trying to save you from people who are using you. In the private room, Martin regained his composure. This is ridiculous. We've done nothing illegal. I pulled out another document from my purse. This is a copy of the original contract Philip signed. The real one. Your secretary kept a duplicate. Martin's face went white. Yes, I continued. Marjorie never trusted you. She gave me this yesterday when I tracked her down in Florida. Sebastian lunged for the document, but the security guard stepped between us. I turned to Veronica. They switched the contracts after Philip signed. They created the fraud they're now accusing me of. Veronica looked at Sebastian. Is this true?
Of course not, he scoffed.
She's desperate. I held out my phone. Call Harold. He has the forensic report. With shaking hands, Veronica took the phone. Martin suddenly stood. This is pointless. Sebastian, we're leaving. Script part separator equals. The security guard blocked the door. I'm sorry, sir, but the police have been called. Martin's face contorted with rage. You'll regret this, Cecilia. I already regret trusting you, I replied. And your son. Veronica ended her call with Harold, her face ashen. Mom, he confirmed everything. The forensic report, the original contract. Sebastian grabbed her arm. Don't believe them. They're trying to separate us. She yanked away. You told me my parents were thieves. That they'd cheated people. That I deserved their money. We deserve it, he corrected, his mask slipping. After what they did to my father. So this was never about me, she whispered. It was about revenge. The police arrived within minutes. Martin and Sebastian were escorted out for questioning, their protests fading down the hallway. Alone with my daughter, I felt hollow.
Victory tasted like ash.
Veronica collapsed into a chair, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about the contracts. But you knew you were stealing from me. She couldn't meet my eyes. Sebastian said you owed his family. That Dad had ruined them. That it was only fair. And you believed him? Without ever asking me? You were always so perfect, she whispered. The perfect businesswoman. The perfect socialite. The perfect mother. I could never measure up. The words struck like arrows. Is that what you thought? That I expected perfection?
Didn't you?
Every time I failed, I saw the disappointment in your eyes. What you saw was concern, Veronica. Not disappointment. She looked up, mascara streaking her cheeks. What happens now? Now we go home. And fix what can be fixed. The money's mostly gone, she admitted. Almost 8 million. I invested it in Vertex Solutions, like Sebastian told me to. Script part separator script part separator . Philip, I said, the realization dawning. They were using you to funnel money to Philip. She nodded miserably. Sebastian said it was an investment. That we'd triple our money in 6 months. It was another lie. Philip was in on this from the beginning. 2 weeks later, we were back in New York. The French authorities had detained Martin and Sebastian pending extradition hearings. Philip Ward was under investigation by the FBI for conspiracy and wire fraud. I sat across from my attorney in his downtown office, reviewing our options. The good news, he said, is that we can prove the Reeves conspiracy. With their testimony, we can likely recover some of the money from Philip. And the bad news? Veronica could still face charges. She knowingly transferred money without your authorization. My heart sank. Is there any way to protect her? He hesitated. She could turn state's evidence. Testify against the Reeves and Philip. She'll do it, I said firmly.
She understands now.
That evening, Veronica moved back into my house. Her apartment had been paid for with stolen money, and she'd surrendered it as part of her cooperation agreement. I found her in her old bedroom, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. The FBI wants me to wear a wire, she said without looking up. They think Philip will incriminate himself if I meet with him. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do, Mom. She finally met my eyes. I destroyed our family. I have to make it right. I sat beside her, tentatively putting my arm around her shoulders. We'll get through this. She leaned into me, sobbing. I was so stupid. I believed everything Sebastian told me. That you and Dad were these villains in his life story. We're all the heroes of our own stories, I said softly. And sometimes that means casting others as villains. Script part separator . The sting operation was set for the following Tuesday. Veronica would meet Philip at his office, claiming she needed assurance about their investment now that Sebastian and Martin were in custody. The FBI briefed us in a nondescript van 3 blocks from Philip's Midtown office. Just get him talking about the money, Agent Carlson instructed Veronica. Ask what happened to it. Ask if Martin and Sebastian knew about the fake contract. Veronica nodded, pale but determined. She was wearing a blue blazer with a wire hidden in the lapel. What if he gets suspicious? She asked. We'll be listening. If anything seems off, just leave. I squeezed her hand. You can do this. As she walked toward Philip's building, I felt sick with worry. My daughter was walking into danger because of me. The audio feed crackled to life in the van. We could hear Veronica's footsteps, the ding of an elevator, her quiet breathing. Mr. Ward will see you now, a receptionist's voice announced. Then Philip's booming laugh. Veronica, I was beginning to think you'd abandoned our venture, like your friends. Sebastian and Martin didn't abandon anything, Veronica replied, her voice surprisingly steady. They were arrested. Yes, I heard. Unfortunate. Please sit. We heard the creak of leather as she sat down. I need to know what's happening with our investment, she said. With everything going on.
I'm worried.
Philip chuckled. Your investment is quite safe. Though I'm curious why you're here, without your fiancé. I told you, he's been detained in Paris. Yes. But surely you've spoken to him? They won't let me. She lied smoothly. And I need to know, what exactly did you do with the money I transferred? Philip's tone changed, growing colder. Why the sudden interest in details? Because it's nearly $8 million and now the FBI is looking into all of us. A long pause. Then, what exactly did Martin tell you about our arrangement? That you were investing the money in tech startups. That we'd triple our return. Philip laughed. Is that what he said? How creative. Veronica's voice sharpened. What do you mean? I mean, my dear, that there was never any investment. The money was payment. For services rendered long ago. Script part separator In the van, Agent Carl. Script part separator In the van, Agent Carlson leaned forward. He's admitting it. Payment for what? Veronica asked Philip. For keeping quiet all these years. About what your father and Martin did. I don't understand. Philip sighed audibly. The contract switch was just the tip of the iceberg. Your father was laundering money through shell companies for years. Martin handled the paperwork. I discovered it during the buyout negotiations. My blood ran cold. This was a new lie. That's not true, Veronica said. Oh, it's true. Ask your mother about Cayman Partners, LLC. Ask her about the offshore accounts. So the money I sent you was hush money. Long overdue. Martin promised me a cut of your family fortune years ago in exchange for my silence. When he realized your mother would never pay voluntarily, he came up with this little scheme. His son seduces you, fills your head with half-truths about your parents, and you do the dirty work for us. You used me. Veronica's voice trembled. We all use people, my dear. Sebastian used you. I used Sebastian. Martin used all of us. And the lawsuit? Insurance. In case things went wrong. Which they have. So there was never any fraud by my parents? Philip laughed again. Oh, there was fraud. Just not the kind we claimed in the lawsuit. Agent Carlson motioned to his team. We've got enough. Move in. We heard commotion through the wire, doors opening, shouts of FBI. Philip cursing, Veronica crying out. I raced from the van toward the building, heart pounding. Script part separator By the time I reached Philip's office, agents were leading him away in handcuffs. Veronica stood by the window, shaking. I ran to her, pulling her into my arms. It's over. You did it. She clung to me like she used to as a child after a nightmare. He's lying about Dad, right? About the money laundering? Of course he is, I said firmly. Your father was the most honest man I've ever known. Agent Carlson approached us. Mrs. Hartman, we'll need statements from both of you. And there's something else. We found documents in Ward's safe. Records of transfers to offshore accounts. My stomach dropped. What kind of transfers? Large sums. Going back 15 years. To accounts apparently controlled by your late husband. Impossible, I whispered. The names match companies listed in your husband's personal records. Records your daughter provided to the Reeves. I turned to Veronica. What records? She looked away. Sebastian asked for Dad's old files. Said they needed evidence for the lawsuit. I gave him the spare key to your storage unit. That night, as FBI forensic accountants combed through decades of financial records, I sat in my study staring at a photo of Robert. Had I ever really known him? The phone rang. It was Harold. Cecilia, he said, his voice urgent. I've been going through Robert's personal papers. There's something you need to see. Script part separator Script part separator An hour later, Harold spread documents across my dining table. Bank statements. Incorporation papers. Letters. It wasn't Robert, he explained. It was his brother. Thomas? I hadn't thought about Robert's estranged brother in years. Harold nodded. Thomas used Robert's identity to open these accounts. See the signatures? Close, but not quite right. I examined them. The differences were subtle, but unmistakable. Thomas died in that boating accident 6 years ago, I said. Which is why the accounts have been dormant. Until recently. I looked up sharply. Recently? Harold pushed forward a statement. Someone accessed one of the Cayman accounts 3 months ago. Withdrew nearly $1 million. Who? The withdrawal was authorized by Martin Reeves, using power of attorney documents supposedly signed by Robert before his death. But Robert died 7 years ago. Exactly. The documents are forgeries. I called Agent Carlson immediately. Within hours, the FBI had frozen all accounts connected to Thomas Hartman, Martin Reeves, and Philip Ward. When I told Veronica, she looked devastated. So they were setting us up. All of us. Even Dad after his death. They needed a villain, I said, echoing my earlier words. And they made one. But why wait so long? Why now? The statute of limitations, Harold explained. On most financial crimes, it's 10 years. They were waiting it out. But they got greedy when they learned about your trust fund. By the time our case went to court, the conspiracy had unraveled completely. Martin and Sebastian Reeves faced charges of fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. Philip Ward had cut a deal, testifying against them in exchange for reduced charges. The courtroom was packed that final day. Reporters lined the gallery, hungry for details of the scandal that had rocked New York's business community. I sat at the plaintiff's table, Veronica beside me. Across the aisle, Sebastian and Martin glared at us with undisguised hatred. When the judge entered, we all rose. Judge Eleanor Simmons, known for her no-nonsense approach to white-collar crime. Before I deliver my ruling, she said, does the defendant wish to make a statement? Sebastian stood, straightening his orange jumpsuit. Your Honor, I was merely following my father's instructions. I believed we were seeking justice for wrongs done to our family. And the romantic manipulation of Miss Hartman? Was that also for justice? He faltered. That evolved into something real. From beside me, Veronica stood. May I speak, Your Honor? The judge nodded. Sebastian Reeves told me he loved me while plotting to destroy my family. He used me to steal millions. He convinced me my parents were criminals. Her voice grew stronger. But the real criminals are standing right there. And I helped expose them. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Simmons banged her gavel. Order. Mr. Reeves Sr., you have perpetrated a complex fraud spanning years, destroying relationships and reputations for your own gain. This court sentences you each to 12 years in federal prison. Sebastian's face contorted with rage. This isn't over. She was complicit. He pointed at Veronica. She knew what she was doing. 2 marshals moved to restrain him as he lunged toward our table. You'll pay for this. Both of you. As they dragged him away, I took Veronica's hand. We'd won, but at such cost. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Mrs. Hartman, how does it feel to see justice served? I looked at my daughter, the pain and growth etched in her face. Justice isn't what matters most. What matters is truth. And rebuilding what was broken. Veronica stepped forward. I made terrible mistakes. I betrayed my mother's trust. But she never gave up on me, even when I gave up on her. A reporter thrust a microphone closer. Will you ever recover the stolen money? Some of it, I replied. But money can be replaced. Trust is harder to rebuild. And have you rebuilt that trust? Veronica looked at me, tears in her eyes. We're working on it. Every day. As we walked down the courthouse steps together, my phone buzzed with a text from Agent Carlson. Another $2. 1M recovered from Swiss account. More to come. It wasn't about the money anymore. It never really was. 6 months later, Veronica and I sat in the garden of my Hamptons home. The trust fund remained depleted, but we'd recovered enough to live comfortably. More importantly, we'd started healing. I got the loan approval, she said, sipping her tea. For the new business. That's wonderful, I replied. Your father would be proud. A legitimate PR firm. Small but honest. The best foundations are built on truth. She set down her cup. I still get letters from Sebastian. From prison. What does he say? That he's sorry. That he really did fall in love with me. She shook her head. More manipulation. Some people never change. But some do, she said, meeting my eyes.
I have.
I reached across the table, taking her hand. We both have. That evening, as the sun set over the Atlantic, I thought about how close I'd come to losing everything. Not just money, but my daughter, my reputation, my sense of self. In the end, what saved us wasn't wealth or power. It was truth. Painful, complicated truth. Veronica joined me on the deck, wrapped in a sweater against the evening chill. I saw online that Philip's sentencing is next week, she said. 5 years, probably less with good behavior. She nodded slowly,